Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is evenleasesc, and in under 20 minutes, I'm going to show you everything that was announced on CitizenCon Day 1 and 2. Hopefully, I get every single thing. There was a lot being shown, and we'll hopefully see a lot of this in the next year or two, but we'll see. Now, let's go ahead and get into it, starting with Day 1. Starting off, they went ahead and showed us a lot of new planetary tech, including different tree types, biomes, loading type, structure, everything like that when it comes to the planets and how they load in, how they look, how the textures stream in. So there's no longer any streaming, like the textures don't look like they're very evident when you're closer and everything. And different biomes like swamps and, big redwood areas and everything. It looked really fantastic. A lot of this felt really Isla Nublar, like we were about to see some dinosaurs walking about. It felt really cool, and I can't wait to see this come to life, maybe in like different systems, probably like Terra, and then of course you have this scene here with the very impressive driving that I would have ended up in a tree. As you can see, these trees are massive. And outside of that, they did show us Starchitect, where they can place different outposts and things and variety very easily among moons and planets, and do it with clusters like this, allowing there to be a lot more points of interest for you to explore and make these places feel a little bit more alive depending on where they're at. So this one here in particular would have 120 points of interest in that circle. It's pretty cool. Moving on, they showed us some more advancements with the AI. The fact that the light would actually change how they spot you, the player character, and the fact that this AI has a Copian pet is terrifying. But given the light situation, their visibility would drastically change, as you would expect, right? So that's pretty cool. Gotta like that. Now, they also showed off a lot of new lighting enhancements with all sorts of different reflections, shadowing, and, it just looks fantastic given all the work they're putting into this. So can't wait to see a lot of these things get to us in the persistent universe. One of the next things they showed is based around sound, so I'll just go ahead and let you listen.
No speed of sound effects. Okay, so that's, if you were at the Pico perspective there, that's how you'd hear it in game right now. Let's hear it with speed of sound enabled, and this time we're just going to listen from Pico's perspective. So Pico's down before he even hears the shot. But don't worry, he's not dead. Okay, let's finish him off.
They also demonstrated the speed of sound and shockwaves with an explosion test, as seen right here.
So again, cinematic effect first when you see it. Shockwave. And the explosion itself.
Next, they moved on to show us the new weather system and the fact that the clouds are actually moving and changing how the light reacts to that, as well as adding dynamic weather, which I'll show you here in just a second. But that includes rain and lightning, and as well as other potentially very dangerous, situations, depending on the planet, the atmosphere, and what type of storm it is. Just like in this demonstration here, you can see that the ground became wet, the plants look wet, the material as he walks up to it looks wet, like on the bases, the structures, the vehicles, it looks really good. And then when he gets into the cockpit of the Zeus here and takes off, you can see there's tons of lightning, and this lightning is actually potentially very dangerous. Maybe it's just because of this planet and everything, but it actually strikes the Aurora right here and takes it out. Not only that, it strikes the Zeus and does pretty good damage to it if you look at the damage model at the top left there, showing that it actually almost wipes out the Zeus. Maybe this is dependent on your shield strength, but that Aurora didn't stand a chance. And right here, you can see that the Zeus almost ends up cut in half as well. So pretty interesting. I like the fact that they might be adding some very dangerous situations you wouldn't want to potentially take off in. Next, they moved into the social panel, where they're going to be completely redoing how being social in the game really works, where it connects, no matter where you're at, if you're on a spectrum, if you're in game, all these different avenues, and allowing you to see more information about each, person that you're friended with. as well as more information with the people you're grouped with, or you're in an org with, and allowing you to see things and their seat, like they're currently occupying. A lot of good information that you don't currently have, as well as a ready system showing if they're ready to go and if they're not, which is pretty cool. They also showed off a new party finder system where you'll be able to, while you're playing the game, if you don't have friends online right now, or maybe nobody's on in the org, you can go out there looking for a party just by opening your Mobi glass and seeing who out there, needs some help with something. And that's really cool, allowing you to potentially find someone to either man your ship or do a mission, or so many different avenues. And it's, I think, something really well needed, as well as new chat features allowing you to have different tabs for like trading, combat logs, group, general, stuff like that's kind of already there, but also allowing you to tag certain things in chat. Like if there's an item that you're looking for or whatnot, you could tag that there, and you could do different things like private messaging and all these other things a lot more, simple, which is really nice, also needed. They also showed off some updates to the FOIP system, so your character looks definitely a lot better while you talk if you're using it, and I think that's really cool. It'll be very good for cinematic reasons, as well as updates to more of the social area with adding guides in game. So now you won't have to go to the web browser. You can do it all from your Glass in game, allowing someone that's maybe newer or just doesn't have as much information about a certain thing find this information or get the help they need without having to leave the game, which is fantastic. As well as many more beacon options, as well as kind of a rep system with beacons, allowing you to get a better idea of who you're helping, or who's helping you, which is really cool. Another well-needed social feature in the game. Orgs are also getting a lot more treatment inside of the game. Now you'll be able to join orgs and do a lot of org style activities, as well as calendars and stuff like that from within the game, which is really cool. And you can also see like the symbols like this will be represented someday in the future on your armor and your ships, which will be really cool as well. But it also gives you a lot more information about like what people are doing, what they're crafting, how they're helping the org, events that might be going on within the org or within Star Citizen itself. It's very cool. Moving on from there, they went into more topic about the armor specialization, giving function to different sets of armor. So you can't do everything with anything, and you have to kind of dress for the occasion, as you can see here, which I think personally they should add those stat screens on the left to the armors in game. That'd be very helpful to see what does what. But this allows for specialization in whatever project you're doing, as well as you can't fly as well anymore if you're wearing very heavy armor compared to someone that's wearing very light armor. So definitely a big change, but a well needed one. Moving on from there, they brought back something that we've all been waiting for, and that is Raid Boss, basically, the worm. This thing is phenomenal, and I can't wait to see more things like this and more creatures that we can go actively after as either a team, solo, or group, whatever. And that'd be fantastic. This thing looks phenomenal and should hopefully, present a great challenge to the player. They're also, as you can see, this thing is massive too. Like that's in compared to an Idris. That is huge. But they're also adding a reason to kill this thing, right? It's going to bring very valuable harvestables that you can cut off of the creature, as well as rip out the teeth and stuff like that, and it'll be worth a lot of money. And then there's also things like the fact that this won't just come in one size. There'll be a different variety of sizes, from the juveniles to the adults to what you saw there being the apex. Now, the juvenile is something you might encounter just walking around a cave or somewhere else because you're disturbing the ground, and it's still pretty big. That thing's 5 meters in length. That's a pretty big worm. And then you have like the adult, which is 15 meters, and then of course you saw the apex, which is 300 meters. And the fact that they're going to have different varieties of these things, which is terrifying. And I can't wait to see what other creatures they come up with. As you can see here, the world is full of possibilities, or the universe is full of possibilities. From here, they went to show us the Nyx system with Delamar returning. And this is fantastic because we once had this beautiful, beautiful landing area, which is completely changed. And but it's back. It's back, baby, and it's here. As well as different access and different missions for Area 18, including instance missions for the player, which will be really cool for team activity. And then they showed us another new system, the Castra system, involving 2 planets with Castra 1 called Bullseye, as well as, Bullseye is a military weapons testing ground, so fantastic. Gotta love the look of that. It's going to be very amazing to explore, as well as Castra 2, which is the location of the military staging area, and it looks really cool with Sherman being the main location here on the moon or planet, and I just think it looks amazing. I can't wait to see this with our own eyes in game. And then from there, Chris Roberts came on screen and was like, hey, let's go ahead and take a look at Squadron 42 and let's do a live gameplay demo. And it went really well. I know they had some computer issues, so it did crash twice, and there was a lot of screen tearing, but they did upload a video later on YouTube showing this exact thing being replayed on a computer that they know it works with. Hopefully this lets them know that they need to maybe beta test this in 25, just so it can work on a lot more computer systems than what they have at Office, but this demonstration was fantastic. It was very cinematic, very immersive. It felt great, and I honestly suggest that if you haven't yet, go onto the official channel and take a look at this gameplay demo. It just looked fantastic. It was very impressive to say the least, and the Vanduul are scary. Let's go ahead and move on to day 2 of CitizenCon and see what was announced.
Huckabee's second favorite son, Jared Huckabee.
Starting off, they talked a lot about gathering resources for crafting and how a lot of these resources, depending on where you mine it or what you use to mine it, is going to, have a lot of different changes in like its value, material, and, just how good that item is. So you'll be able to gather these resources, whether they're a good resource, a bad resource, or a great resource, and then craft gear, craft ships. You'll be able to improve gear, stuff like that, and as well as base building. Now, a lot of these resources will have what I was just kind of talking about, quality, and these quality will depend on how good of an item you make. So it's pretty crazy that now we're going to get into this type of system here, and it's really cool. As you can see on screen here, using proper quality materials, you can take a pistol like this, the Volt Pulse pistol, and make it much better via the stats, because you're using better items, or you can upgrade it depending on the resource you're using. Now, to use those type of things, you'd need blueprints, right? So to craft an item, you'll need blueprints. You'll have to acquire them. You'll get them, they'll add to your library forever, and from there you'll be able to craft that item. It's pretty cool. You just got to find the resources, whether you're using hand mining, prospector, or your base to go ahead and mine these resources, and then from there you go ahead and start constructing your base. You make gear, you can make ships, you can make shops. It's really cool, and I hope we see this sooner rather than later. Even though right now a lot of this looks kind of white box or gray box, as they say, it looks further along than they're making it seem. So I'm just being hopeful here. But yeah, you just pick a spot, you make your land claim, you choose your materials, you go ahead and create a base, and from there it's just the world is your oyster, right? You can go ahead and use your base to gather more resources and construct bigger and bigger and bigger if you're a solo player, or even if you're a big org. And then you can set up shop. You can make pristine armors and weapons and sell it for different prices, as well as you got to defend your base and everything. So you can make defensive structures of all sorts, and it's just going to be a really cool experience and very complex. Then they went on to announce new vehicles, including the Argo CSV, which is a cargo carrier, and then the Argo CSV FM, which is a base builder. It'll have drones, as well as a really new big ship in the Misk family, the Baby Odyssey. The Misk Starlancer. It looks fantastic. I cannot wait to see this thing and review it. It is a phenomenal looking ship, and they even showed it off in game, and I was just like sitting there going, oh, I can't wait to see this thing with my own eyes in game, this thing looks phenomenal. It's just got such a great design. It's very Baby Odyssey, and I think it looks great. They also showed off the new, Pioneer reconcept because they have to bring it up to the game standards with base building and everything. So pretty cool. Can't wait to see that, as well as what ships they weren't able to, get in, which was the Legionnaire, the rest of them, the Guardian, Intrepid, and the Polaris, released at the end of the year, as well as this demonstration here of some of these ships. And if you're not already thinking it, yes, that is a medical terrapin. That is literally a medical variant of the terrapin, which so many people have been asking for. This is going to be amazing. And after showing this beautiful Polaris here, they went ahead to show us some of what they really wanted to touch on, some of what the vehicles they're working on over the next year, including this military variant vehicle here, another ballista style vehicle under the Atlas chassis, which is going to be fantastic. Looks like a cargo carrier maybe. And then looks like the F7 Mark II series of ships, probably like the Tracker and the Ghost right here, which is great. Can't wait to see that. And then touching up over here, this one here looks like the Terrapin medical variant. And I don't know what this is. I really don't, but it looks cool. I would assume maybe it's the Guardian, but that's going to be coming here in the next month or two. And then a Prospector variant, potentially, which is interesting. I have no idea what that ship is, so can't wait to see what that is, as well as this thing. This thing is pretty big. It's pretty sizable, but I have no clue. Oh, man. And then it looks like we will be getting the Apollo, which is awesome, as well as, of course, this big, beautiful giant here, the Star Lancer. So, and the Perseus. That's very exciting. The Perseus is going to be fantastic, as well as a lot of newer ships. Like this one, I believe, is the Drake ship that was just recently announced, and I can't wait to see that. That's going to be fantastic. Look at that Hornet coming out of it. And then from there, they moved on to Star Citizen 1.0 and what that's going to bring us, including a main storyline for us to complete, allowing us to gain citizenship, which will give us bonuses and benefits in the verse, and that'll be really cool as well. There's going to be a narrative. It's going to be NPC driven at your pace. You can do it whenever you want. You don't have to be like doing the main mission all the time, and you can join these different guilds and stuff that give you missions, and they kind of bring up to speed here what systems will be launched with 1.0 as well. So you got Stanton, Pyro, and then from there you got Nynx, which is great. It's going to be bringing us, Delamar, which is fantastic with Levski. Gotta love that. And then from there, they're actually going to be doing the system that they just announced, Castra. Castra is looking fantastic, especially with Sherman. That location just looks amazing. I can't wait to fly up to that someday. And then the last system they announced for the 1.0 released is Terra, which Terra is going to be a very phenomenal looking system, but pretty hard to implement. So that'll be cool. And then they go into more about, professions and all of that in 1.0 and how that'll impact, as well as inheritance tax, in Death of the Spaceman, and insurance and warranty, what they assume is going to be like. It sounds like they're pretty concrete on that, but any ship bought on the Pledge Store, you're good. You don't have to worry about it. You're going to be able to keep it forever, even if it gets destroyed. Any ships you buy in game, you could potentially earn transferable warranties. And then from here, they show you a player-made station, which honestly is only going to be made by guilds, and probably pretty big guilds, because these things look like they're going to require massive amounts of resources. The resource requirements for this will be phenomenal. It's going to be fantastic. But that is pretty much everything that was announced at CitizenCon this year. Let me know what you guys thought of the show and what they announced. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.